10 on this Thursday night on the Capitol Watch, and an emotional hearing is being planned for next week at the State House as a new resolution will be introduced expanding victims' rights in the Gem State.
This amendment is aimed at giving victims more of a voice throughout the entire criminal justice process. Our Morgan Boydson talked with advocates of the legislation, known across the country as Marsy's Law. She joins us now live at the Idaho State House to tell us more about it.
Versions of Marsy's Law have been passed in 5 states, and now Idaho is one of many where it's being pushed. A lot of key players worked on this constitutional amendment, from victims' rights advocates to sheriffs and prosecutors. Many of those people will be speaking at the State House next week, talking about the pain that victims endure.
You don't plan ever to be a victim.
On the night of March 11th, 2011, Ashlee Birk's husband, Emmett Corrigan, was murdered in a Meridian Walgreens parking lot.
He was having an affair, and the husband came, and with 2 shots of a gun, I was made a widow at the age of 28.
3 shots were fired.
As the trial for her husband's murderer, Robert Hall, loomed, Ashlee held out hope for answers, for healing.
Living through the trial was its own trauma.
Hall was convicted of second-degree murder, but that didn't provide the healing or closure Ashlee was hoping for.
When you don't feel like you have a voice, or you don't feel like you're remembered every single day, by the end of the trial, it's almost like I was worse off.
Ashlee wishes she could have been included in the trial more frequently, and wishes she was informed much sooner before Hall posted bail.
If Marsy's Law is approved and the laws change, those kind of situations won't blindside people.
Ashlee is one of many advocates of Marsy's Law who want to ensure that victims and their families are given the same constitutional rights as the accused or convicted individual.
Idaho has some victims' rights provisions and some good provisions in its constitution.
Senator Todd Lakey, who is sponsoring Senate Joint Resolution 102, says
But it's been a while since they've been updated.
Some amendments need to be made. Marsy's Law would add provisions and tweaks to Idaho's constitution, one being that the victim is notified of more proceedings in a, quote, reasonable and timely fashion. Victims would also have the right to reasonable protection from the accused or anyone acting on their behalf. One of the most important amendments would expand victims' rights to be heard, if they choose, prior to the acceptance of matters in different parts of the proceeding.
Post-conviction relief, parole hearings, bail hearings, where their voice is important, their safety is important in those proceedings, and they have an opportunity to be heard.
If I was able to be there and just say, hey, Judge, here's my concerns, maybe he wouldn't hear them, maybe he wouldn't care, but at least I would feel like I had a voice.
This resolution will be heard sometime next week in the Senate State Affairs Committee. If it passes both the House and the Senate, Idahoans can expect to see it on their ballot in the next general election.
Well, you brought that case back like it happened yesterday, 6 years ago, for the Corrigan Hall case. All right, Morgan, thank you. Now, Marsy's Law is named for a California woman who was stalked and killed by her ex-boyfriend. Marsy's family was surprised to find her accused killer had been released on bail a week after the murder without